They were young, brilliant, and fearless. 10 Soviet hikers vanished into the frozen wilderness of the Ural Mountains in 1959. Days later, they were found dead. But not in one place. Not in one piece. Some were missing eyes, others, their tongues. Their tent was ripped from the inside. And to this day, no one knows what truly happened. This is not a ghost story. This is real. It all began in late January 1959. A group of 10 experienced hikers from the Ural Polytechnic Institute set out on a ski expedition into the northern Ural Mountains. The goal? To reach Otorten, a remote mountain whose name ominously translates to "Don't go there" in the local Monsey language. The expedition was led by 23-year-old Igor Dyatlov, a radio engineering student known for his discipline and leadership. He was joined by 8 men and 2 women, all young, energetic, and trained in survival. They kept detailed journals and took photos throughout the journey. Every step of the trip was documented. Until it wasn't. The group boarded a train from Sverdlovsk on January 25, 1959. Spirits were high. Their goal was to gain Grade 3 certification, the highest level of hiking mastery in the USSR. What none of them knew was that this would be their last expedition. One hiker, Yuri Yudin, turned back early due to illness. His decision saved his life. The remaining 9 continued into the snowy abyss. As the group trekked deeper into the mountains, the weather turned brutal. Temperatures dropped to -30°C. Winds howled through the trees. But the hikers pressed on, skiing through dense forests and over icy slopes. On February 1, they set up their final camp on the slope of a mountain, the Monsey called Kholat Syakhl. For reasons still unknown, they pitched their tent on the exposed slope instead of nearby woods, which would have offered shelter. Some speculate they didn't want to lose altitude. Others think they were simply caught in a blizzard. They never left that site alive. That night, something terrified them so deeply that they slashed their tent open, from the inside, and ran into the freezing darkness. In -30°C weather. Some in just underwear. What could have scared 9 trained hikers into doing that? Days passed. No word came. Families grew anxious. The Soviet government finally sent a search party on February 20. 6 days later, searchers found the hikers' tent. It was half collapsed and covered in snow, ripped open from the inside. Footprints led away from the tent. They were barefoot. Some showed signs of people walking in socks or with only one shoe. The tracks led into the woods, and vanished. 2 bodies were found first, Yuri Krivonischenko and Yuri Doroshenko, near a cedar tree, stripped down to their underwear. They had built a small fire. Branches above them were broken, suggesting one of them had climbed the tree, perhaps to look for the others, or escape from something. The bodies of Dyatlov, Kolmogorova, and Slobodin were found between the cedar tree and the tent, frozen in positions that suggested they were trying to return. All had injuries, but nothing fatal. It took 2 more months to find the rest. The final 4 were discovered in a ravine, buried beneath 13 feet of snow. These bodies told a darker story. Ludmila Dubinina was missing her tongue, eyes, and part of her lips. Her companion, Alexander Zolotaryov, had his skull crushed. Nikolai Thibeaux-Brignol had a massive skull fracture. But no external wounds, like they'd been hit by a car or thrown by a force that left no mark. There were high levels of radiation on their clothes. Strange orange skin tones. Hair turned gray. The Soviet government quickly closed the investigation. The Dyatlov Pass incident is steeped in theories, some logical, others fantastical. One of the most popular is the avalanche theory. Some experts believe a snow slab could have slid onto the tent, prompting the group to flee in panic. But the angle of the slope, and the lack of extensive avalanche debris cast doubt on this. Then there's the infrasound theory. This scientific hypothesis suggests that wind blowing around the mountain created a low-frequency sound, known as the Kármán vortex street. Infrasound can induce feelings of panic, nausea, and irrational fear. Could this have sent them into a paranoid frenzy? Others point to military experiments. The area was known for secret Soviet weapons testing. Some believe the hikers were accidental witnesses to a top-secret event, such as parachute mines or radiation exposure, prompting a lethal cover-up. And then, the bizarre UFO sightings, Yeti footprints, paranormal encounters. Journal entries allegedly hint at lights in the sky. Was something not of this world responsible? One chilling photograph taken by the hikers, known as Frame 33, shows a blurry humanoid figure in the snow. Some say it's another member of the team. They say it's the last thing they saw. The Soviet Union acted swiftly. Within days of the last bodies being recovered, the case was classified. Officials silenced families and searchers. Reporters were blocked from the scene. The official report was vague, citing an unknown compelling force as the cause of death. Autopsy records were inconsistent. Some files disappeared. Others were marked as classified for decades. Years later, investigators and journalists revealed that military planes were flying over the region that night. Some even speculate that radioactive weapons were tested nearby. But evidence remains elusive, buried under snow and silence. To this day, many believe the government knew more than they let on. The secrecy only fuels the fire. In 2019, Russian authorities reopened the case. They narrowed the possibilities down to just one: an avalanche. But most experts and the public weren't convinced. In the same year, scientists from Switzerland used computer simulations to test the slab avalanche theory. Their results showed that a block of snow could cause some of the injuries. But the question remains, if it were an avalanche, why did the group flee calmly, without grabbing their gear? Meanwhile, independent researchers, like filmmaker Donnie Icar, pushed the infrasound theory. His experiments suggested that specific wind patterns could have created a deadly resonance in the tent. A sound that drove them mad. Yet, none of these theories fully explain the crushed ribs, the missing tongue, or the radiation. None explain why some clothes were swapped among bodies, or why they were found in such strange poses. What happened that night on Kholat Syakhl remains an open wound in the world of true crime. Every theory has holes. Every answer breeds more questions. Was it fear? Paranoia? A force of nature? A man-made disaster? Or something beyond understanding? Some say the Dyatlov group became victims of nature's wrath. Others believe they stumbled upon a deadly secret. And a few whisper that something ancient, something watching, chose that night to awaken. Even today, in the shadow of the Urals, the wind still howls across the pass. Locals avoid the place. Hikers report strange phenomena. The mystery breathes, buried beneath snow, silence, and time. We may never know what truly happened that night. But the story of the Dyatlov Pass incident haunts us because it challenges what we think we understand about fear. About survival. And about the unknown. 9 souls entered the mountains. None returned. But they left behind a trail of clues, clues that refused to be silenced. So we ask you. What do you believe? This has been the Dyatlov Pass Incident. Subscribe for more chilling mysteries. And remember, some mountains were never meant to be climbed.